Good morning, or evening, or afternoon, wherever you are. This is Jamie again with MyTarot.org, and just welcoming you to our morning reflection, our daily inventory where, it's just a reminder to check in with the universe. Instead of just running around, maybe we need to just stop for a minute, check in, see how we're feeling. Give ourselves that chance to just take a breath. See if we have any angers or resentments in that inventory. Anything we should look at now before we get triggered later on. Got an eyelash on my glasses. So, what does the universe have for us? So today I'm going to use... Mina got us this really cool deck. And when we finally got it... And it's kind of like a light, fluffy deck. And when we got it, it turns out that it was a bootleg copy. It was a copy that's from one of those websites where the artist does not get credit for it. The artist does not get paid because somebody just copied it and sell it. And it was a really good copy. I mean, the edges are gilded and everything else. But she then went out and got the legitimate one. So it's kind of a light and fluffy deck and not one that I would normally use. But I used it live the other night for a client. And it just seemed to have this really soft way of saying what needs to be said. So it's just one of those weird decks. It's almost like, like the Tao of Pooh kind of thing. It's just, you wouldn't expect wisdom from a fluffy deck like this, but I really like this deck. This is coming from a Marseille person who's into those harsh colors and things like that, but let's see. So, what are we going to do here? We're going to flip that light switch that says it's time to just relax. Put the feet flat on the floor, butt comfortable in the chair. Relaxing the shoulders and the neck. Taking a breath and listening to the cards like they're the sounds of the ocean. Get ourselves in that frame so we can check in with the universe. So, here we are, and I'm going to make our 3 stacks. Each one of these, a different thread going out to the universe, each one a different conversation. And if we believe in the multiverse, each one of these is like we're going to be walking down one of 3 paths, because this conversation is going to be different than this one or this one. So this morning, how about if we take a look at the top stack, the one that's right on top, maybe sometimes things that are right in front of us that we don't even see. Good morning, Maureen. It's always good to see you. Maureen, you will probably like this deck. It's called Oak, Ash, and Thorn. Oak, Ash, and Thorn. So I'm going to do our 3-in-1. And I'll flip each card over like it's the pages of a book. As I like to say, that way it's like life. We think we know where things are going. We get to this card and we prejudge the situation. And then we flip over the last card and it just changes everything sometimes. So this morning we have the Page of Pentacles. And so what is a page? A page is when we are learning something new. It's when we're starting out fresh with something. And pentacles deal with home, finances, health, things like that. And with the court cards, they can be either us or they could be somebody else, so they could be part of the situation. And then we have justice. So what is justice? Justice is about being clear-sighted. Justice is about looking at a situation at the facts, not letting emotion come into play. So, and we have our page looking over here. And I love how it has the pentacle balanced on its little nose there. And it's looking over here at justice. So, where are we going with this? We have the 10 of Swords. So, swords are what? Swords are thoughts. Swords are air. As I like to remind people, it's like, the tarot's from the 1500s. Who would carry the swords? That would be the kings, the politicians, the people in charge. And with the 10 of Swords, that is when we look at the numerology. You're carrying one sword. That's the seed. When you're carrying two swords, you're making choices. You get to 5 swords, and if that's steel and you're actually carrying it in your arms, that gets really heavy. Now imagine that's mental. And you get to 9 swords, and that's a lot of steel, and you're trying to carry that load by yourself. And when you get to 10 swords, in a race with the tarot and the numbers, 1 through 9 is the race. 9, you win. 9 is the ending. 10 is what we do after the race. 10 is a 1 and a 0, so it's that prep to start over again. So the page is really hopeful. The page is ready to jump into something. But sometimes we may inadvertently do something, cause harm to others, cause harm to ourselves. We don't mean to. But when we're finally judged on those results, sometimes we inadvertently can cause harm. So I'm going to flip over the advice card, which is the moon. We have our crescent here. We have the little squirrel here. And the moon is about intuition and dealing with fears. So, with the moon, I kind of like to describe it as when it's twilight and we're walking through the woods. And we look over and we see something. And we wonder, is that a log? Is that something that could jump out at us? So we have this choice to make. We can use our intuition and we can be clear-sighted or whatever that may mean. But we can rationalize it out and say, that is just a log. And continue walking down that path. But it's about using our intuition. It's about listening to that inner voice of what we should do. So with this reading today, we can have the best of intentions as we start out. But are we really seeing the situation for what it is? It's one of those things where we may not really know what we're doing. A page doesn't really know. A kid doesn't really know what they're doing sometimes. But when it's seen from the outside, when somebody makes us aware of what we're doing, we could be walking down a path through the woods where we are not seeing the obvious. And we could be judged on this by the harms that happen afterwards. When we're walking through the moon, we need to make the right choice. A page could just be like, well, I'm going to take the dare and I'm going to go into that haunted house. You know, because a lot of neighborhoods might have a haunted house. And so the page takes that dare and he goes up to that haunted house. And so afraid of seeing a ghost, doesn't realize that the floorboards are old and crickety, and that's why it says do not enter the house. And maybe they fall through, or the person they convinced to go with them falls through. We're not really judging the situation as we're moving forward. And when we're not correctly judging a situation, we're setting ourselves up to either harm ourselves or others. So this is one of those things about are we really taking things into consideration? Are we trusting our instincts? I shouldn't go out on this person's boat because they're drunk and they're an idiot. But this looks like so much fun and it's something the page would want to do. Whatever happens, the judge is going to come back and say, did you notice they were drunk? Finding justice for the broken adult harmed in childhood. That's a beautiful way of looking at it. It's absolutely another way of looking at it, Maureen. That's beautiful. And many of us have had childhood trauma. So I see what Maureen's saying as us as the page, or somebody that gets harmed and then finally, but seeing that trauma and maybe the justice. For the broader sense, I'm just kind of throwing this out as a for the day. Are we making the right choices? So that if we get at the end, the obvious is shown to us. It's like, but didn't you see that? Yes, I did. I just chose to ignore. It's about ignoring our instincts and then dealing with the consequences. So Maureen, here it is. It's oak, ash, and thorn. Three Trees Tarot. Stephanie Burrows. and Adam, Oehlers. And yeah, I'm surprised at how much I actually like this deck. It's almost like getting a tarot reading in the 100-acre forest, in the 100-acre woods. I would not have thought I'd like this deck that much. You know, I have my other nature deck. But there's something about this deck. You know, even the 10 of Swords has the butterflies around it. You know, 10 is a cycle. 10 means endings and new beginnings. So with the butterflies, it's about, you know, the chrysalis coming out. So with that, thank you all again very, very much. And I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing rest of the week. And I will be here again tomorrow. Thanks again and take care. you.